Hey guys, I'm here. Today we are going to be talking about keyboards. We're going to talk about how to use one. This is actually like kind of an overview guide, and I'll go over some common issues that could come up and how to deal with them. Now, the very basics of how to make a keyboard work are actually pretty simple. You've got a keyboard, you plug it into your computer somehow, whether that's physically through a USB cable or wirelessly through either Bluetooth or an RF. wireless protocols such as the one that uses this little tiny USB dongle. Once you have it connected, your operating system should automatically detect it and start installing drivers, so that you can just start using the keyboard right away. Now, there are more advanced keyboards out there, such as gaming keyboards, or ones where you can program the keys to do different things that will require you to install additional software from the manufacturer. But we'll get into that later. So let's cover some basics. First, if you have a wired keyboard, what you want to do is take the USB connector at the end of the cable and plug it into any available USB port on your computer. If you have a wireless keyboard, well, first of all, if it's a Bluetooth keyboard, what you want to do is make sure that Bluetooth is turned on your device. And then you want to put the keyboard into pairing mode, which usually means holding down a certain button, such as the Bluetooth button on the back of the keyboard, for a few seconds until it starts flashing. Then you can go into your computer's Bluetooth settings and find the keyboard and pair the two devices together. Now, if you have an RF wireless keyboard, you're going to take the little USB dongle that comes with the keyboard and plug it into an available USB port on your computer. So once the keyboard is connected, whether that's physically or wirelessly, you should hear it kind of like boot up. You might see some lights start flashing on the keyboard itself. And if everything is working properly, you should just be able to start typing on it, and it should work right away. Most modern keyboards will have their drivers installed automatically by the operating system, so you don't need to do anything else. But if you have a more advanced keyboard, you might need to install some additional software. I'll cover some more advanced stuff in just a moment. But before we get into that, let's cover the basics of troubleshooting. If the keyboard is not being recognized by your computer when you plug it in, there are a few things that you can try. First, try plugging it into a different USB port on your computer to rule out the possibility that the USB port that you originally plugged it into is just broken. If that doesn't work, you can try restarting your computer and then plugging the keyboard in. And if that still doesn't work, check the cable itself to make sure that there isn't any damage to it. Also check the connector at the end of the cable to make sure that it's not bent or damaged in any way, because sometimes that can cause issues. If the keyboard is being recognized by the computer, but the keys aren't working properly, there are a few things that you can try. First, you can try cleaning the keyboard. Sometimes if there's dust or other debris that gets stuck under the keys, it can cause them to not work properly. You can also check to see if any of the keys are stuck. Sometimes if a key is stuck, it can cause other keys that are nearby to not work properly. If none of those things fixes the issue, you can try plugging the keyboard into a different computer to test it out. That way you can rule out the possibility that the issue is with the keyboard itself, rather than with the computer that it's plugged into. If you're having issues with a wireless keyboard, there are a few things that you can try. If it's a Bluetooth keyboard, try moving it closer to the computer that it's connected to. Sometimes if it's too far away, it can cause issues. You can also try removing any potential sources of interference. So anything that creates a lot of electromagnetic interference, such as a cell phone or Wi-Fi router, can potentially cause issues with a wireless keyboard. As a last resort, you can try repairing the device to your computer. That usually involves putting the keyboard into pairing mode and then going into your computer's Bluetooth settings and repairing the two devices together. Alright, so now let's get into some more advanced configuration stuff. First, let's talk about language and keyboard layout. By default, your operating system should automatically detect the keyboard layout that you're using. But if it doesn't, or if you want to change it, you can do so in your operating system settings. On Windows, you can go to the Control panel, and then Region, and Language, and then Keyboard. On a Mac, you can go to System Preferences, and then Keyboard. Next, let's talk about customization. So if you have a keyboard that allows you to customize the keys, such as a gaming keyboard or a programmable keyboard, you'll need to install the manufacturer's software in order to do so. Usually you can download this from the manufacturer's website. Once you have the software installed, you can usually customize the keys to do pretty much whatever you want. So you can assign different programs to certain keys, or you can create macros. A macro is basically a series of keystrokes that can be triggered by a single key on the keyboard. So for example, let's say you want to create a macro that types out a frequently used phrase. You can set it up so that when you press a certain key on the keyboard, it will type out the entire phrase. You can also adjust other things such as the backlighting on the keyboard if it has any. Many gaming keyboards have backlighting. You can usually adjust the brightness or the color through the manufacturer's software. Next, let's talk about special features. Most keyboards have some kind of multimedia keys such as play, pause, fast forward, rewind, etc. You can usually configure these keys to do different things if you want to. Some keyboards also allow you to adjust the polling rate. Polling rate is basically how often the keyboard communicates with the computer. On a gaming keyboard, you might want to set it to a higher polling rate in order to get faster response time. Finally, some keyboards allow you to set up multiple profiles. A profile is basically a set of settings that can be saved to the keyboard's memory. This can be useful if you use your keyboard for different purposes, and you want to have different sets of settings for each purpose. So, for example, you could have one profile for gaming and another one for office work. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Those are the basics of how to use a keyboard and some common issues that could come up and how to deal with them. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching, guys.